Hi everyone, welcome back to WHU TV live on Facebook and YouTube. My name is John, your host as always, and as always I hope you guys are doing well on these very difficult circumstances. Very warm day today, 24 degrees here in Chigwell. Absolutely loving it. It's unbelievable. It really is nice how hot the weather is. According to the reports, this is the sunniest spring since records began in 1929 so far. It's been brilliant. It really has been lovely weather. It's glorious, and I hope you guys have really enjoyed it today. By all means, guys, if you want to get some really decent retro gear, then by all means click on the link in the description below for the sponsor company 3retro.com. Some very nice retro gear in there, guys, so go check those out. Any purchases you make, of course, will be going directly to the NHS. So the commission that the channel would normally get, I should say, will be going directly to the NHS. So guys, if you do, thank you very much. See you in the chat. Rick, hello mate, I hope you're doing right. Sophian's in as well. Eden, good evening mate. Andy, hello mate, good to see you in as well. So yeah, usual crowd getting in, but before we go through the normal conversations, I just want to first and foremost say thank you very much to Nick from Crossed Hammers for sending me this. This was unbelievable. I ordered it on Saturday and it came through today. It's every single season review of West Ham from the 85 to 86 season all the way through, including the last game with the bowling and last season at the bowling, I should say, and also the first 3 seasons. So here, as you can see, the Olympic Stadium years as well. So fantastic deal, really good. Go check it out, guys. But as I say, thank you very much, Nick, if you're watching for this. You're an absolute legend for doing that. I really do love the fact that they were so quick. Like I say, ordered Saturday morning and it came in this afternoon. So fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Good evening, Mark. I hope you're doing all right. And he's been working hard. He's been laying in the garden getting a tan. I hope you're not too sunburnt, mate. Hope you're keeping good. But yeah, so also it was interesting hearing today that there's going to be 60 tests per day at each club, which is brilliant. For the last few weeks, it's been 40 people being tested, 50 people more being tested last week, which is fantastic news. Bearing in mind there was no new tests, no new positive results for COVID, as we talked about yesterday, and as I say, there's 60 tests being done in each club this week as well. So the more people they test, the more secure everybody can feel, and the more relaxed the guys can feel as well. Because for that matter, we was watching the government broadcast at 5 o'clock, and it was brilliant news for that, because there was only 134, 114, one of the two deaths over the last 24 hours, the lowest it's ever been since the end of March. The lowest amount of people in hospital was just under or just over 9,000 people. Again, the lowest it's ever been since the end of March. We're getting there, guys. We really are getting there. And as you may have seen late last night, the Championship have agreed to get back to start football to resume on the 20th of June. Now the good thing about that is obviously Championship fans aren't going to miss anything, but QPR's chief executive has come out literally within the last half an hour or so saying QPR are massively opposed to starting the season so soon, and I can completely understand why, for 2 reasons. One, there's possibly going to be confliction with the Premier League broadcast as well. So what's going to happen with those games? How are we going to see those? Are those going to be at 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock? Do you know what I mean? We'll find that out in the next few days. And of course, there's been quite high numbers of the EFL players over the last week or so that have tested positive for the condition as well. So I can completely understand where the guy's coming from. Totally understandable that they're opposed to it. And I'm guaranteed there's other clubs in the Championship that didn't agree to the league started, but there was enough of them to agree to doing it, which is why it's gone ahead, which is the same way that the Premier League does as well, for that matter. Now, of course, we're still waiting to see what's going to happen with League One. But guys, do you think that the championship is returned too early in relation to their statistics, or do you think this is the right time? By all means, let me know what you think. Good evening, Gary. Hope you're doing all right, mate. And Peter Jones is back. Hello, mate. Good evening. Hope you're all right. The pair of you. And also, for that matter, those that have been shielding for the last 12, what was it, 10, 11 weeks, that are high risk of, if people have got are heavily asthmatic, have recently had surgery within the last 18 months, have other forms of respiratory infections, they've been given the okay to go outside as well. So Bex, if you're watching, the government has confirmed you're allowed to go out. I know you've been going out getting your food shopping anyway, but you can actually go out and properly so-called socialize. Now, I want to come back on something that Chris Heaton was talking about yesterday, where the reports were saying people are on every single beach. I maintain it isn't. I know the BBC were broadcasting it, saying it was every single beach, but it was only in the south. So again, the numbers don't lie. It'd be interesting to see what happens in the next couple of weeks, what the figures are going to be like after the protests in Trafalgar Square earlier today, or was it yesterday? No, it was earlier today, for what's happened, the whole circumstance around George Floyd, and of course, we're all thinking of his family at this very, very difficult time, because there's been mass demonstrations, and I mean mass demonstrations in Trafalgar Square, and of course, likewise, all the rioting and stupid things that have been going on in the States as well, for that matter. Mob rule never fixes anything, but I completely sympathise why they're doing what they're doing. But yeah, it's bad. We're in bad times at the minute. Andy says that's me, JP, in for 12 weeks. Are you talking about the season review, the box set? 'Cause I know you're keen on getting one. Sophian says, I think the championship should return when the Premier League comes back, to be honest, but they haven't had the same amount of time. That's half of the chief executive's argument, but I get it. Ken, hello mate, you're right. I've all those season reviews, brilliant to look back on, complete roller coaster ride. I can well imagine. I'm really, really looking forward to doing it. Mark says, if the Premier League are ready, then the championship should be too, but as I say, the date is different. The date has been completely different. Alan says no, he's been shielding, but Andy, as I say, you're now allowed out outside your garden. You can actually go out and do stuff. You don't have to be shielding anymore. That's what I'm saying. Gary says, let's all meet up when we're all allowed back to the stadium. Maybe do a vid together on West Ham Fan TV, mate. I try to organise it on my birthday to get everybody together to do a live conversation. But yeah, I know loads of people are up for it, completely up for it. It's going to be a great thing. All of us to get together, and we just have that. We have that camaraderie. I mean, I've had a few drinks with Gio and the Hammers Chat guys before. They're a great laugh. Fortunately, I was enough to have a drink briefly with Nicky as well. Very, very good. Great guys. Sophie says, Gary, I can't, mate. I'm too small compared to you lot. I won't get on the camera. Look, mate, if Dan can get on the camera, the midget that he is, I'm sure you'll be all right. Andy says, yep, going for a walk later with the missus. Excellent time. Good. Perfect weather out there as well, mate. Absolutely perfect weather. You couldn't ask for a better day to be able to finally undo the lock on the front of the door. But as I say, going back to the championship, it's literally a case of how are people going to be able to watch it? I mean, are Sky going to be having their broadcasts through the red button for the championship? I know you can do that iTouch or whatever it's called, where you can watch the League One, League Two, and Championship games. So maybe that's gonna come back into force. But as I say, it'd be interesting to see what happens. I'll keep you guys posted, because obviously, we all want to know what's going on with the football and what we want to watch as much as we can. For lack of a better way, and I'm not really interested. I'm interested to see what happens with the West Brom and Leeds games. I'll be keeping an eye on those, getting a bit of research done, and see what happens with the playoffs as well, for that matter. But it was interesting. It was interesting seeing. Let's have a look. See who else is what everyone's been saying. Sofian says, "Yep, John's Sky had a red button service for the airfill before COVID." That's what I was saying about the I touch. I think it's called, or something like I something. Gary says maybe Championship will be all free to view. Possibly. Good shout, mate. That's it. Yeah, I follow. Thanks, mate. That's what I was referring to. I follow. Yeah, it's been so long since I've used it. I can't remember what it's called. Eden says, "Have you seen the return to play protocol that's apparently been introduced? You talking about the one they've been using for the last week, or has it been brand new ones? Because that's how they were able to do the that's how they were able to do the contact training. So let us know, Eden, just to be clear which one you're referring to, because there's obviously been quite a lot. Now, where are we? And the Premier League teams are all going to be meeting again on Thursday, which is probably what Eden's referring to just discuss a few more subjects, including what could happen if in terms of the curtailment plans, if the government suspend the football again. I can't see it the way the date is going at the minute. I can't see doing it in any shape or form. But you never know. Things could change in the next 3 to 4 weeks, well, 3 to 4 days for that matter. You just don't know. But it'd be interesting. But one of the things that they did talk about is, possibly how they're going to finish the season. And again, it looks like the discussions were heavily based around points per game. But obviously, the main drive for everybody is to finish the season, get everybody to play the remaining 92 games or 96 games, how many's left now. But I say it's just because they're planning for it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. They have to plan for it. We've been saying for weeks that they have to try and accumulate for everything. But at the same point, how can these meetings last 5 hours? I was reading earlier today that they've been talking for 5 hours. I mean, how is that possible? How is that possible? And it says they're saying if a player tests positive, they'll automatically have to miss 2 weeks of the football. Well, that's half right, Ed. And I know what you're talking about, because I watched Gio's video this morning. They won't miss 2 weeks because the protocol is that the fact they isolate themselves for 7 days. But they will miss the start of the season. It depends on the circumstances, like with everything. Some may miss 2 weeks, some may miss 1 week, some may miss 3. That's something that's currently being discussed, and I'm sure is going to be on the table again on Thursday. And as I say, the plans for how to curtail the season as well, for that matter, if the season is suspended again. I mean, we've come this far. I'll be very surprised if we don't continue on the way that we do. But as I said, at the same time, we could see a big spike. It's not going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. The numbers are too small for a spike to happen. It really, really isn't. But you just never know. You absolutely never know. Gary says no deaths in London for 2 days. It's looking good. Agreed. Sofian says apparently Millwall are in the promotion chase. You're all right. I'm not watching Millwall games, mate. Never in a million years am I going to be watching a Millwall game. Sofian says, say if LA tests positive and recovers in a week, but has to miss the Villa game as he has had COVID-19. Right? Where's the question? Sorry, that's sorry, mate. You need to rephrase that question, because there isn't a question in there. That's a statement. But as I say, it depends on the circumstances. It really depends on the circumstances of how everything is. From what I'm reading, I've done a lot of research over the last few days to try and figure out everything, because there's only certain bits of information that's available to the public. And Mark says it's not the numbers that cause the spike; it's the people carrying it who don't know they have it. Agreed, Mark. But you can't have a spike without the people. That's the point. There's loads. It depends on loads of different things. As I said, so John, apparently yesterday the government counted the numbers of deaths. That's wrong. They said it was up by 100 and something, but it was up by more. Who said that? I haven't seen anything verified. I was watching it again today, and there's nothing to say that I will literally watch the broadcast, and they didn't say that they got their figures wrong. I mean, and again, for what day are you referring to? Now the funny thing is now you guys know that I really try to keep away from talking about rumors. I really do. I always have done, and that's the forefront of this channel, always has been, is to talk more about fact than fiction or rumors and conjecture. And it was quite interesting because I had a look on kneesupmotherbrown.com earlier today just to see what they were doing, and I had a look at their videos and stuff, and it was really funny to see, because Gonzo did a video at the end of April, so basically 5-6 weeks ago, discussing the possibility of WHU getting a new contract. And now apparently he's one of the players that's looking very likely to leave. Well, which is it? Which one? I'm not disputing what Gonzo said. It was a brilliant video. I watched it originally, which is why I didn't mention. I don't think we didn't really talk about it, but I know we did a video where we were talking about the possibility of, if you would give certain players a new contract. That was done towards the end of March, around about the same sort of time that everything was. But so everything goes to plan from that point of view. But at the same point, a week or so later, it was literally about a week or so after Gonzo did his video, it was confirmed that there's a likely that WHU's not exactly going to be getting a lot of football. So why would we look to offer him a new contract if that's the situation? So that's why I always say, you guys, if you see any rumors, do your research, look at other sources, and try and figure out if it's coming from the same newspaper as a lot of this stuff does, without any quotes. Then, yeah, it's interesting. But guys, that's the whole point. Sofiane says, don't believe the rumours. In my opinion, Sky Sports were reporting the other day that Jeff Hendrick from Burnley was going to AC Milan. Oh yeah, I read that. Yeah, that was funny. Mark says, I can't see any logic in giving WHU a new contract. Exactly, but logic never happens in football, mate. That's or any business for that matter. That's half the problem. Sofian says, okay, so if Haller has COVID-19 and recovers it in a week, would he have to miss the rest of the season because of the COVID-19? As I said, mate, it depends on the circumstances. Possibly no. He wouldn't risk the whole of the season, because unless he goes into hospital and he's in intensive care, then no, he'll be back within a week, maybe 2 weeks, and that's including going back to training, not going back to football. Because obviously for any length of time that you're off, you've got to have the equivalent of training, and that's what they're talking about. That's why this is all a bit of a muddle, because if you miss a week of football, you have to have an extra week of training before you get back to the same level as everybody else. Maybe a week and a half. That's where it's all coming from. Again, that's the logic behind it, but again, you never know. You never know what's going to happen. Now, as Sofian mentioned yesterday, the West Ham were back at the London Stadium training. Now, a lot more information came out about this later on after we had the broadcast, that they were actually in full kit training, playing against each other, 11 versus 11. I don't say, maybe there might have been juniors involved in it to get 22 people on the pitch. Who knows? But yeah. So, and apparently we were the first club to do that, because I saw the photograph today that Liverpool put up about their solidarity for, unfortunately, what's going on with George Floyd, as we said. But it's really good. It's really good to see the fact that for once we're doing something that other people are copying, and it's a good thing. It really has been brilliant that we've seen that the club is taking the initiative. David Moyes is trying stuff. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter all that much, but it's a good thing because they're trying to basically get him to acclimatise to the situation, trying to get people to get used to what's going to be playing like an even less empty a stadium before anybody says it again. But it's really, really good that they're doing this, and I'm hoping they're going to be able to keep doing it for doing it every other day sort of thing. Get them used to being back on that pitch, learning the pitch again. Because let's not forget, footballers have not been anywhere near a proper football pitch for almost just over 3 months. So it's good. But this is the thing. It'd be interesting to find out what the details are when it comes back. Nick says, "Hey mate, hello guys. Sorry I'm late and haven't been around for the last week or so. It's fine, Nick. It's not a problem. Don't worry about it." Nick's coming straight with a bomb. Have a really good feeling we're going to stay up. Sofiane says it might seem weird, but maybe Moyes wants to get them to feel. Wants them to get the feel for playing in an empty stadium and also in a full kit. Yeah, probably. Henry says 445 additional deaths, which haven't previously been included. They do that every now and again. Unfortunately, it's not one day. That would have been spread over a couple of weeks. But I'll have a look to see. What the reports are on that. I'll do this straight after this broadcast. And he says the only thing I'm looking forward to the football is all the swearing. Yes, because I don't know if anybody watched the Europa League game with Wolves, and it absolutely cracked me up because the commentator kept saying, "Yeah, sorry, apologies for if you're hearing anything what's coming out of the pitch. We can't control it," and all that sort of stuff. It was very, very funny. Very good. Gary asks, do you think they will play the music when they come out? Hope they do to get an advert. To get an advert? What do you mean an advert? And what music are you referring to? Are you referring to the normal match day music, or are you talking about each club's anthem, which has been discussed, which we talked about the other day? Sorry, Gary, again, I need you to clarify what you're talking about there, mate. Now, it's interesting to say because, I've said this beforehand. And we've all said this beforehand, to be honest. But it was interesting reading today that because we talked about last week with Moyes' plans for Diangana next season. It seems to be leaked in certain different ways that Yarmolenko is going to be sold because Moyes wants Diangana. He wants him to feature that heavily next season, which I think is fantastic news. It's brilliant news because we all love watching an academy player come through. We love watching them bursting down, breaking through. We feel proud as supporters when we see. Not as all football supporters do. I'm saying not just West Ham supporters, but all football supporters do feel proud when there's a youngster on the pitch. He's earned his craft. He's doing what he needs to be doing. I absolutely love that. I think that's really, really good idea. Yarmolenko, as I said, over the last couple of seasons, I've been very, very disappointed, including this season. I've been very disappointed with his injury record, and I can see. So yeah, if we sell him, that's a huge amount. It's 115 grand, if I remember correctly, off the wage bill plus whatever figure we get for him if we release him or we sell him for 7 or 8 million. That's potentially selling him. That's saving what. Say for argument's sake, we sell them for about 8 or 9 million, if we're lucky, right? Seven or eight. Okay. Then the 115 grand a week, that's going to be equivalent of an extra 4 or 5 million on top of that. So that's pretty good deal. That's a pretty good deal for the club in this current climate. Unfortunately, obviously we would try and get more money, but every club is going to be pretty strapped for cash, for lack of a better way of putting it. Sofiane says, I'm guessing they will play Bubbles and the Premier League anthem. Yeah, I think that's where Gary's coming from. Let me just check it. Yes, anthem they don't get, and hope they don't get to a break so we can't sing along. I don't think they would, mate. All hell would break loose with that. For example, that stupid thing when in was it the World Cup? a few years ago, where ITV went to an ad break 2.5 minutes into the game. An error apparently, but that was inside dealing because somebody put a bet on an advert within the first quarter of an hour, and Christ knows what the odds were, but they made an absolute mint out of that. Nick asks, are you going to be watching a Liga? Bundesliga has produced high-scoring games, but the quality of that league is absolutely crap. Bundesliga's not crap, mate, but yeah, it's not entertaining in terms of the Premier League. But again, just remember that these players are all coming back. Some will be stronger than others. Mönchengladbach's result yesterday was mental, to say the least. Absolutely bloody mental. Sophie says, Grady running down the wing. Grady, and when he does, we'll sing. Being French, I say I've championed for a long time that we have Bowen down the right. Well, from your point of view, Bowen down the right and Grady down the left. It'd be Jared and Grady together would be absolutely brilliant. Really, really would tear it all up. I genuinely do feel that. I know I've been saying that I haven't seen a lot of Bowen, so I can't really say it. But that's my instincts from what I've seen when he made his debut against Liverpool, and then his home debut against Southampton afterwards, if I remember correctly, was just incredible. Really, really good play from the boy. Really good. Nick says, I know everyone wants Wilshere gone, but honestly, I'm excited, I think, rather than exited, to see him. I hope he doesn't get injured. Yeah, I'm looking forward to him. No, seriously, I still maintain it was a PR stunt by the club. Absolutely maintain that. But I really, really do think he would be. He will do us some good, but I can't see where he's going to get in the midfield. I wouldn't play him over Fornals. I'll possibly play him over Lanzini, but at the same point, yeah, it's difficult, mate. It's difficult. Sofian says, if ITV went to an ad break in England versus USA, you briefly remember that. Yeah, that's the game I'm talking about. Henry says, Yarmolenko, Liverpool wanted him at one point. Liverpool apparently want for all of our players at some point if they're playing well. I know he was linked to Liverpool before we brought him in. Sofian says, by the way, speaking of Bundesliga, I just got a Dortmund shirt. Traitor, naughty boy. Nick says, Bundesliga has a good top 10. The rest are trash, mate. The Bayern game was an example. Yeah, fair point. Yeah, but again, you could tell the match fitness was different. Sofian's gone all northern on us. Jared and Grady would be mint. Would be absolutely mint. Honestly. But yes, they would be good together. They would be good together. That would be funny. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but if you haven't, go check out the West Ham website or their YouTube channel. There's a very, very good video that Creswell did, explaining his background from when he was a junior at Liverpool, being released at Liverpool, going to Tranmere, which is like leaving West Ham's academy and going to Millwall. And then he was talking about when he was in his scholarship there as well. He was on £50 a week for his first year in his 2-year scholarship, and then in the second year he was on £60 a week. And then he talks about when he went to Ipswich, and then obviously he talks about when he came to us as well and getting his England call up. Go and watch it, guys. It's a really, really good video. I really do feel sorry for Aaron. I like him. It's just that he references obviously that injury that he picked up when we were abroad in that New Zealand tournament. But it was, he's never been the same since. It's like with Lanzini. Lanzini's never been the same since afterwards, for that matter. But yeah, I really, really, really do think. I really do think that he's a good player. But he's coming to the end of his career now. Bless him, unfortunately. Nick says Wilshere can be a huge impact sub with Antonio and Yarmolenko. Could be what keeps us up. Good point, Nick. Very, very good point. Yeah. Excuse me, guys. Yeah. Very good point. Impact sub. But as I say, I wouldn't start him over the players we mentioned. Chris, favorite FIFA? I don't have one because I've mentioned numerous times when we've talked about computer games that I'm not a gamer. So I played it once when when it was on Sega Mega Drive, and I played it a couple of times with a housemate of mine who on the PlayStation 4, PS4, if I remember right. But that's it. So I can't really say either way, mate. Unfortunately. Nick says, "Isn't it crazy that Fredericks has played for Millwall, Spurs, and West Ham?" Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Sophie says, "I saw that video. Proper Scouser led. Aaron Cresswell sounds like Stephen Gerrard reading this. No, I'm not doing that again." Nick says Lanzini and Arnie were fire under Moyes. They were on fire under Moyes, mate. You're absolutely right there, but not really sense, unfortunately. I like Wilshere, but he's too injury prone, poor Jack. He is. And Mark's back with his trivia stuff again. So is Teddy Sheringham. He has. He's played. What was it? Was Scott Parker's done Charlton? Was it Charlton? Us. Spurs. He was at Chelsea. He was at Chelsea before he went to Newcastle as well, wasn't he? So he's only got he's only got Arsenal to play for, because obviously now he's managing Fulham, but he's only got Arsenal, and that's it. He's done the lot. He's absolutely done the lot. Chris, is that us for going with Arnie and Manuel Lanzini? Agreed. That was very, very good game. Very, very good game. Now, as I say, we were talking about earlier about a few points per game system, and 538 guys have done a bit of data analyzing, and they've come out with where they think all Premier League teams are going to finish once they play all their 9 games. So let's start from the bottom upwards. So let me just get to the bit as well. Chris asks, what's for dinner tonight? I've already eaten it, mate. It was nice steak pie with roast potatoes and mixed veg. Always do that. I always have dinner before I do a video, because if I'm hungry, my stutter really, really comes out. I get more nervous for some random reason when I have if I don't eat beforehand. So right at the bottom, 20. Let me just show this to you guys as well, for that matter, so you can read along with me. So yeah, let me just zoom that in just a tiny bit so you can read it a bit better. How's that? Is that looking better? Maybe a bit more. I'll look after you guys. So well, that's about it. Yeah, that's right. So Norwich finishing at the bottom on 30 points. So 9. They pick up 9 more points than they currently have. The penultimate position of Aston Villa at 34 points. So again, they picked up 9 more points than they're currently on, because they're on 25 points. AFC Bournemouth, 36 points. Again, picking up 9 more points than they currently are. So you've got Norwich, Villa, and Bournemouth getting relegated as far as those guys are concerned. We just scraped by. We finished 17th according to this league table, picking up 11 more points than we currently have. Which a lot of people have said about 10, 11 points. I've always maintained 9, and I still will do for the next few games until we see how we're playing again. But that's been very, very good. That's not a bad cap. They're not that far off, those guys, to be fair. That's the 16th position is Watford with 39 points, again picking up 9 points more than they currently have. Sorry, 12 points more than they currently have. 15th is Brighton and Hove Albion, picking up 10 more points than they currently have. Newcastle picking up 9 more points than they currently do, leaving them on 44 points, and 14th in the table. 15th in the table is Southampton, picking up 10 more points than they currently do, with 44 points. Position 12, Crystal Palace, picking up 9 more points than they currently do, with 48 points. They reckon Burnley's going to pick up an extra 10 points, and they currently are, leaving them at 11th. Thought that was Gary O'Neill there for the second on the right-hand side of that screen. Looks like him. 10th place is Everton, picking up 14 points more than they currently have at the minute. 13 more points to Arsenal, leaving them at 9th. Spurs, they reckon Spurs is going to pick up 14 more points than they currently do, leaving them 8th in the table. So no Championship football, Champions League for them, or even Europa. 7th is Sheffield United with 43 points they're currently on. So an extra 12 points, picking up, getting to them to 55 points. Wolverhampton Wanderers, aka Wolves, picking up an extra 14 points than they currently do for the next fixtures, leaving them 6th, which puts them in the Europa qualifiers position. Man United get into the Europa League as well with 62 points, so that's 17 points more than they currently have, which probably includes a victory over us because we've got to play them still. Chelsea finished 4th with 64 points. 16 points more than they currently on. Leicester with 67 points. That's 13 points more than they currently do, leaving them 3rd. Man City finished second place with 81 points, so an extra 24 points on top of what they currently have. And Liverpool with 101 points, which is 19 more points than they currently have. So, guys, do you think would you say that was a right calculation that they feel that we were going to be doing? We would sit there in that position. Do you reckon we'll just scrape it? Nick Squire says, I don't think Norwich will get 3 more wins. You never know, mate. You never know. 9 points from 9 games could happen. Mark says, who'd have thought we'd be fighting relegation after we beat Man United at home? One game doesn't define the season, but I know what you mean. Nick says, Spurs not in Europe. And he also says, I actually think United will nick a Champions League spot from Chelsea. Good shout, mate. Good shout. Good shout. And so I think it's about right seeing some far too optimistic ones for West Ham. Yeah. Mark says he doesn't feel it won't be far. Feels it won't be far wrong. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, I reckon it will, mate. I reckon it would be close. It'd be close. I'll be interesting to see where those extra 2 points, because I've always said 9 points for the remaining 9 games, and so I'd be interesting to see if we do get those 11, because it will be squeaky bum time. It really will be squeaky bum time for us. It really will. Now, got me thinking to the last game of the season. Now, what would normally happen is we'd have a lap of honour. It's not going to happen this year, is it? It's not going to happen this summer. Or this? Well, yeah, it should be summer by the time that happens. For the factor is, there's nobody to do a parade round. So what are they going to do? Are they going to lap the cameraman? Is each player going to individually talk into the camera after the game? Is Zabaleta going to be captain because it's his last game of the season? Last game for the Premier League after, was it 12 years in the Premier League now? Is he or is it going to be like what would happen with Ginge last season, where Mark Noble will come off and give and Zabaleta will come on and have his armband on? I mean, what would you do out of it? Would you start him if we were safe, if we were like 4 points clear with the game to go? Would you guys make Zabaleta captain for the last game ever that he'll play in the Premier League? I personally would. But let me know your thoughts on that one. Andy says 9 out of 9, I think. Yeah, so Andy agrees with me. That's good. Nice to see that. Nick says, if we win all our games, we'll have double the points we currently have. Yeah, agreed, but that's just never going to happen. Mark says no send off for Zabaleta. I know it's a shame, mate. That's what I'm saying. I mean, unless of course Villa and West Ham give him a guard of honour as he walks through. Maybe if he does that, like we did for Bobby when he played his last game. Yeah, that's an option, of course. That's always an option. But again, you never know. But yeah, it's a real shame. As I say, the bloke's he's one of the longest serving players in the Premier League, and he's not going to get a send off that he deserves. It's a real shame. It really is a real shame. Now, something else I want to show you about, because what's his name? Old matey has been doing the rounds again, hasn't he? Yeah, Martin Brown. Nick says, if we are safe, we can put Zabaleta as captain. Henry says, all I have to do is put a bet on us to go down and we will stay up. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. Because you know what? You might get more than you bargained for with that, mate. You might do. I mean, I don't think the odds are going to, what was it, the 7-4, if I remember correctly, when we talked about it the other week, a few days ago. But yeah, don't you dare. Henry, if you put a bet on and we get relegated, I'm finding you, sunshine. You're going to feel a world of pain. Now, Martin Brown, and thank you to Sofian for sending this earlier today. Because we talked about the Indian Hammers concept kit that they put up. We've talked about a few others that have been doing the rounds recently. But this is just an absolute piece of beauty. It really is. It's not far off that Indian Hammers one that we saw. But yeah, this is absolutely gorgeous. This can I zoom in a bit more? Yeah, no, Twitter won't let me do it. So let me make it full screen for you guys. So yeah, so it's as I say, people, you can see the count going up. It's literally live. But this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. Really good. Really good idea. It's got everything we possibly want. It's got the old style badge without West Ham United London written on it. It's got the memorial date underneath it, for lack of a better way of putting it, the anniversary date, I should say. Beautiful 3 claret stripes on the side of it. White shorts, as everybody loves, and white socks with the claret and blue at the top. Do you know what? I was watching the playoff final against Blackpool. We had our claret stripes halfway down. I think that looks a lot nicer myself, but this looks absolutely. I'm not going to say legit because it's not, because this isn't a legit one. This is a concept that somebody's made up. But it's just, I absolutely love the look of this. I really do love the look of this, and I'm hoping this is what's going to happen next season, because it was nice as it is seeing the Umbro bit round the bottom here. Oh, sorry. Seeing the Umbro bit round here, I just love those 3 claret stripes. It's absolutely beautiful. That, as Henry says, he's done it before. Taylor GC, welcome back, mate. Nice to see you. Hope you're keeping all right. Mark says banners around at the ground for Zabaleta is another idea. Yeah, have a virtual goodbye. That's very good. That'd be brilliant. Mark really likes that concept kit. Nick says, wow, that's what we need. Agreed. Henry says that's nice, and Mark actually says, yeah, it's actually perfect. And you're right, mate. It's absolutely, it's gorgeous. It really is gorgeous. Now, I wasn't going to buy a kit next season, but if the anniversary kit comes out looking something like that, I still would like to have the hoodie neckline thing, but that's about as close as you can possibly get. I really do love that. Now I'm going to try and end the brought this show on a positive note, and I've got a couple of funny things to talk to you about as well, for that matter. Nick says this home shirt and a similar away kit to this season's. Yeah, I don't think that'll happen, mate. But yeah, I'll be interesting to see what the designs are for the away kit. But yeah, it would be perfect. Len says I would have to get that kit. That's a great one. Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful shirt. Beautiful shirt. I'm hoping when you say kit, I'm hoping you just mean the shirt, because I don't want to see you in the socks and the shorts either. Your full kit. But yeah, so the original Snake has been interviewed by a newspaper called Reunion, from what I understand. And I was reading through it, and I wasn't exactly going to talk about it, but I wasn't going to read it originally, if I'm completely honest with you. But I was just really interested to see what Paya says, because we all know the stories. Excuse me, we all know the stories that went around in those days, just about all this, everything that was going on, about everything that was going on with how Bilic was dealing with people behind the closed doors, how soft he was with everybody, how everyone was just coming in like it was a family atmosphere, which is not a bad thing, of course, but the fact that he was too lenient on a lot of people and all that sort of stuff, and as a result, as a result of it. But yeah, what his quotes have been saying is, he said, he was talking that he wasn't put under enough pressure by Bilic and everybody. Quite frankly, he said if it's it's something that I wear constantly. This is also why I returned to Marseille. It's not the reason why you return to Marseille, mate, but you can tell us that if you want. West Ham is a popular but modest Premier League club. Agreed. When I was not good, nobody fell on me. But at Marseille, this is not the case. You can't fall asleep on your laurels. It's an interesting way of putting it. Even when I'm good and the team wins, you can always fault my performance, which is true. Yep. Everybody can improve. That's basically what he's trying to say. Everyone can improve. And then he goes on about saying, but Paya stood by his decision to collect a full salary, with the French league having already been declared finished back in April. This is quite interesting. He earns 100 grand a week at Marseille, taking him up to 2022. Said my position was clear and obvious. The player that I am is also a father of a family. Like everyone, I have significant financial outlays to maintain and engagements to keep. My role is to defend my interests and those of my family without putting the club in danger, with everyone knowing how attached I am to it. Well, yeah, I mean, he's a knob. Let's not put two bones about it. He's on 100 grand a week. Some of us don't see that in our lives. His wages in a week are more before tax than I own in over 3 years. The guy, he can stop. He doesn't have to. I mean, what on earth is he paying 50, 60 grand a week on? What on earth is he paying 50, 60 grand a week on? He can live without that money. It really does my head in. Anyway, but yeah, it's interesting to see from Payet. I mean, he's not, of course, he's not the most reliable of all sources when it comes to this information, but yeah, it is. It's interesting to see that we're having that. And Max Defra, thank you very much for liking this on Facebook. Much appreciated, my friend. Len says, haha, yeah, just the shirt. I'm glad. Mark says, I think we're due another light blue away kit. Not a bad, mate. That is a good shout. You're not that far off it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe my t-shirt today has got you thinking about it, but good shout. Good shout. Good shout there, fella. And he says when you said the original snake, I thought it was Ince. Yeah, Ince was just being a bollock. He was, leaking a photograph of himself. Now, bearing in mind when Ince went to Man United from West Ham, there was no social media. So that picture would have been leaked to the press by his family. If he'd had a photograph of him in his at home, as some players do now, then fair enough. Or as because Morrison did it once. He had it in whatever club it was. I can't remember now. But when he was with us, he had a photograph up and was it a Marseille shirt or Real Betis or whatever it was, and all hell broke loose when that photo went out. He said it was it's just a bit of a laugh. He likes the team, blah blah blah. Like with Creswell when he said he's a Liverpool supporter, but he plays like he's a West Ham fan. But Ince was just being a bollock, as simple as that. But I do feel I do feel a little bit sorry for Paul in that regard. And I know a lot of people are going to lambast me for this, and we've had a couple of people unsubscribe, so I'm sure a few more people are going to unsubscribe. But it was just the fact that it kind of in a way set the trend from one regards with how footballers think of themselves. Mark says greed, discussing greed, agreed. And he says Arsenal. Nick says from the games in the Bundesliga you have watched, who's caught your eye? For me, Havertz, Werner, Alfonso Davis, and Nkunku. To be honest with you, Nick, mate, it's not been. I've not really watched. I've hardly watched a full game, to be honest with you. I didn't really watch the second half of the Bundesliga, the Mönchengladbach game, because it's just not. It's just no. I mean, it was one, like you said, it's a one-sided game. Baron says, sorry, I'm late. My alarm died and I woke up late this morning. Thanks, mate. Not a problem. Mark asks, any Jerry Cinnamon tunes planned for the big gig when it happens? If it happens at this point, because people keep leaving. I mean, we're down to 1538 before we went to broadcast. So we've lost 3 subscribers in the last 24 hours, which is a shame. But it's what happens when you don't feed certain people's egos. I will have a look. I know. I know it was in an Arsenal shirt while sat in the Ferrari. I know, but there was the Morecambe and Wise bit, mate. Morecambe and Wise, if you remember that. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Andy. It was definitely an Arsenal shirt. Again, because I think he actually grew up being an Arsenal supporter. I think or something. But yeah. Now, here's an interesting question for you, because we're coming up to rounding up. But all jokes aside, and I know, if I was in he'd spam the chat with the hashtag that him and Charlie like to use. But genuinely speaking, who would you rather have as the number 9 in the number 9 shirt next season? Jordan or Sebastian? I really, really want to know. I genuinely want to see your thoughts on this. I really, really do, because for me personally, I honestly can't make my mind up on this. It'd be nice to see Allaire in it, of course, but you can't. I'm sorry, you just can't give it. You can't give it to Jordan. As much as we all love the idea and the romance of the story of it, you can't give it to him. You can't. Sorry, Charlie, if you're watching, I'm sure he's going to land in. Drop the bomb in when he if he's watching. But yeah, no, it's Allaire. I mean, you got to give him. I mean, no disrespect to Hughes, right? At all. No disrespect to him whatsoever. You can't give him. You can't give a number 9 shirt to a player that has hardly featured. It's hardly scored. I mean, I know he's done a lot down at QPR and fair play to the boy, but yeah, don't know. It's weird. Nick says Allaire is our record signing. Yeah, Andy says Allaire 100%, as does Mark, as does the Baron. Nick says what I've been saying all along: Hugo is championship standard. I hate to say it, mate. You don't have to say it. If you don't hate to say it. It's your opinion. Mark says, but I'd like to see Hugo play. I hope he's a lot quicker than he was when he was with us before. I really hope that his work is what he's been doing with QPR has really got his energy a little bit higher up than it currently it was then, because he was trying, bless him, and that's why a lot of us love him, is the fact that he put a lot of effort in, didn't really do much, and he had 4 appearances, and he was lucky to get into double digits of time. But the one thing I wanted to finish on, and guys, you can read this along with me because this is hysterical. I really think this is humor, to say the least. Because but yeah, new lockdown laws in England make it illegal, and I'm not making this up, as you can see here, illegal for couples to have for couples living apart to have sex indoors. Now, what does that tell you? There's a quote here. It said, so the law, which will be laid in Parliament on Monday, I didn't watch that. I didn't watch all of it. I just watched some of it today. It says when there is a gathering of when 2 or more people are present together in the same place in order to engage in any form of social interaction with each other, or to undertake any other activity with each other. No person may participate in a gathering which takes place in a public or a private place outdoors and consists of more than 6 persons, or indoors and consists of 2 or more persons. Okay. A separate provision makes it illegal to stay overnight outside your home without reasonable excuse, which can include moving home, work, attending funerals, providing care, and escaping harm. So basically, if you're moving, you're allowed to stay in the place you're just moving into. An exception has not been made for couples who do not live together, meaning that they can spend time outdoors together but not inside. People who have sex outside can be punished under pre-existing laws on outraging public decency and indecent exposure. Police can arrest or fine people for breaking the law, with a default penalty standing at £100 in England, but do not have the power to check for violations inside properties. Oh, that's hysterical. That really is funny. That is really funny. Mark says it was good to hear Hugo turned up to watch us this season when he had a weekend off. Yeah, Gonzo was talking about it. Mark says, so can we shag outside? And Andy quite rightly says, that's dogging, Mark. And Mark, playing his disability card there, I think it's also very, very enjoyable. But that's the first thing that came to mind. Is it's having sex in your garden, because you can't do it indoors. If you're bird or your fella, depending on your point of view. Nick asks, what's happened to loan players like Cullen and Grady? Do they come back to us for the rest of the season? Their loans are already expired. No, they haven't, mate. Grady is currently still with West Brom. Josh Cullen will still be with was it Orient? Or Charlton, wherever he is. Yeah. Also, I'm told. Yeah. Baron says, what is dogging? Sorry, I am German. There's no need to apologise, mate. It's best to Google it, shall we say. And but yeah, but as I say, Nick, their loans expire when the season expires. That's all. But that's what has been put into paper now. But guys, on that cheeky note, we will end it there. So thanks very much for watching. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. If you want to support the channel on Patreon, have the link in the description below. There's 3 tiers. There's an academy player, there's a squad player, and there's a starting 11 tier as well. So all 3 tiers are explained. There's going to be more there's going to be more information there's going to be more information coming up in more times in relation to the tiers, because we're going to be we're going to be a very there's going to be more content coming more and more as we speak. It's a little bit difficult to do things at the minute because I'm so busy with work and also researching for this channel as well. But as I say, if you want to support the channel on Patreon, there's a link in the description below. It's not much money a month, guys, to be honest with you. Obviously the more content that's going to be coming available to the certain tiers, the prices are still going to be the same. I'm not going to charge you guys more for putting more content in, because at the end of the day, you should be getting exclusive content on Patreon, and there will be. For example, if you become a starting 11 player Patreon, then we will start having, because there's only one at the minute, so it's a little bit pointless. But if we have more than 2 or 3, then because one of the things is the fact that we get an exclusive Q&A with me. I don't go through any of the stuff that we were talking about now. The Q&A is literally just you ask me questions, I answer them. I ask you questions, you answer them. That sort of thing. A proper open Q&A. So in a lot more, it can be a lot more in depth. That's purely for Patreons as well, for that matter. There will be coming very, very, very soon exclusive watch-alongs for the FA Cup finals as well. All 4 of them. So that will literally be me doing the watch-alongs of those FA Cup games, and the more fun, more stuff that I can think of, the more padding the accounts will have, and you'll have better value for money. Not that you don't have value for money at the moment, but as I say, we've only got 2 Patrons in there. Wally World, thank you very much, mate, as always, for having being a squad player, and Rick, thank you very much, mate, Rick Cogger, for being a starting 11 Patreon as well. But guys, in the meantime, as I say, thanks very much for your time. Visit the channel sponsor, 3retro.com. Get yourself a really good, really nice retro shirt. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to know more, you want to try and get as closer to the 1600 subscriber mark for the live gig I'm going to do for you guys, then by all means, please do consider hitting the subscribe button and hit the notification bell as well. Please share this content with anybody that you feel may want to watch it. If you like this video and you feel I deserve it, and you want to get a bit more exposure to the channel on YouTube, then by all means, please do click the like button. I'm agreeing with Gia what he said earlier today, before he hit his elbow on the radiator. I'm not 100% sure that if it does really do any benefits, but comment in your comments below. Give me your thoughts on what we've talked about. If you've got any questions, by all means, put them in the comments as well for those watching the replay, and I will answer them in tomorrow's video. So in the meantime, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I will see you tomorrow evening. Take care.